Royal Victoria Hospital, these are exciting times. It's embarking on the biggest capital project in Simcoe County history, an expansion that will transform this hospital and provide enhanced healthcare closer to home to residents throughout the region. This hospital opened its doors in 1997, but the region's population has exploded since then, and so has demand for RVH services. While long-term redevelopment planning continues, to meet the needs of area residents, this hospital must move forward aggressively with Phase 1 of its two-stage expansion project.
Royal Victoria Hospital is the largest facility within our LHIN, and we are also situated in the area of the province that is growing at twice the provincial average. We're faced with a population explosion, and it's going to continue that way for the next couple of decades.
While many departments in the hospital will experience changes, either relocation, expansion, or renovation, Phase 1 focuses on 7 immediate priority areas where need is greatest: additional inpatient beds, expansion of the emergency department, imaging services, and the lab, a new coronary care unit, more operating rooms, and of course the jewel in the crown, the Simcoe Muskoka Regional Cancer Centre. This is an architect's rendering of the expansion. The existing hospital is shown at the back. The area at the front, on the Georgian Drive side of the facility, is new development, and you can see how seamlessly it blends with the existing hospital. This is where most of the new space will be located: the additional inpatient beds, the emergency department, diagnostic imaging, 2 new shelled-in patient care units, and in the northeast corner of the facility, the Cancer Centre. This will be the only centre between Newmarket and Sudbury and will provide comprehensive cancer care to patients throughout Simcoe Muskoka. In fact, in its first year alone, it will log over 60,000 patient visits. RVH is now the site of Canada's very first temporary radiation clinic, and it's able to provide treatment to 400 of our cancer patients every year. Others, though, must still travel to Toronto for their care.
They're traveling when they're sick and unwell. The families have to take time off from their lives. The distances are far. Winter can be very onerous. And so this is very hard on them, emotionally, physically, financially. And when we have the new center, we'll have that facility here, close to home, and it will be just such a great asset, both to the patients and to their families and the caregivers.
Although constructed as part of the hospital, the Cancer Centre will be self-contained, and in addition to the radiation suites and chemo treatment areas, it will also feature a pharmacy and space for social work, clinical trials, as well as patient education. With 73,000 annual visits, RVH's emergency department is the second busiest single-site ER in the entire province. But it is woefully undersized. Stretchers are crammed into every available space, including the hallways. The new plan calls for this space to triple in size.
Well, the biggest problem right now is that there's no beds in the hospital. When there's no beds in the hospital, there's nowhere to move admitted patients from the emergency out of emergency, so we can see people in the beds in emergency. So it becomes a domino effect. We feel it's way overdue. We need some type of expansion, and we almost need some type of temporary plan, which we're working on to try and alleviate the problem right now. The expansion hopefully will keep the emergency free to see emergency patients.
Included in the ER expansion is a dedicated trauma area, isolation, and a clinical decision unit. Mental Health's crisis intervention team will also be located here.
Just like this.
Right next door to the ER will be imaging services, which will almost double in size. Last year, imaging staff performed 140,000 exams, and that volume is going to increase significantly once the Cancer Centre opens. This expanded space will provide much better patient flow and increased privacy. The opening of the Cancer Centre is also going to have a dramatic impact on RVH's laboratory services. The increased workload, along with the enhanced regional services it provides, means the lab will expand significantly. 80% of cancer patients require surgery. That, in addition to a growing demand for the specialty procedures RVH provides, is why the expansion includes 2 additional operating rooms. And they'll be larger than the existing ORs to accommodate complex cases. The surgical suite will also feature enhanced patient prep and holding areas. New to RVH will be a self-contained 7-bed coronary care unit, which will provide intensive care and monitoring for very unstable and critically ill cardiac patients. Once a patient has been stabilized, they'll be moved to the new cardiac inpatient unit, where the specialized team will continue to work with the patient and family until they can be safely discharged to the community. Also included in Phase 1 is the lodge for cancer patients who live more than 40 kilometers away from Barrie. It will be named Rotary House in recognition of the generous contributions from Rotary clubs in Barrie and throughout the region. It will be adjacent to the hospital and connected to the cancer center via a tunnel. Once complete in 2012, RVH's Phase 1 expansion project will add an additional 500,000 square feet and double the size of the existing hospital. Changes will occur in almost every area of the existing hospital: the cafeteria, human resources, finance, laundry, health records, sterile processing, security, housekeeping. Very few areas of the hospital will remain untouched. Construction will be planned to ensure the least amount of disruption for patients and staff, because the hospital must continue to function 24/7. Site preparation, things like servicing, roadwork, and parking lot construction began in the summer of 2007. Construction on the actual building is slated to start early in 2009.
When we cut the ribbon on Phase 1, it's actually just the beginning. If we could today begin planning for the entire hospital expansion, it would go well beyond Phase 1, and that's why we're underscoring it's only Phase 1. Everyone has to remember that there are many departments and services that are not expanding in Phase 1, and in the absence of that, our community is still going to be very strapped in receiving adequate services close to home.
The RVH expansion will impact residents right across this region. It will ensure they have access to the care they need when they need it. And it will allow Royal Victoria Hospital to fulfill the promise of its slogan: exceptional people, exceptional care.